Good morning, artists. Mrs. Langless here. And today we're going to create a new artwork that will really stretch our imagination. And as artists, it's really handy if you have a very wild imagination and that you're able to, consider things that are impossible or things that couldn't actually happen and somehow incorporate them into your artwork. So here's an example of an artwork I created of an imaginary world. And that's what I'm going to be asking you to do today. Think about creating your own imaginary world. So here's what my artwork looked like in the end. I encourage you to think as wildly as possible and create something completely different. But let's look at some other examples first before we talk about the process. So here is one that I really like because I love the way that this artist created an island that looks like it's actually a living thing. So they've got, the island underneath has like tentacles like an octopus. I thought that was a really cool idea. Here's another one where it just looks really magical. There are lots of, people and animals doing things that people do, like playing instruments and things. There are things going on in our trees, just kind of a magical little world that has been created. And then this one I really liked because here we have this little town or city in the clouds. Love the rainbow, but then it's raining fish. And if you look closely, there are even people with umbrellas here protecting themselves from the raining fish. And then there's bubbles. So maybe we're actually underwater. I don't know. So in order to get started today, what I want you to do first is to do some brainstorming. So I like to, get out a piece of paper and think about the possibilities here. So for our imaginary world, one of the things that you want to think about first is, what do the land forms look like? And is there a sky? And what's going on in that sky? Are there people that live there? What do they look like? Or maybe they're not people at all. Maybe there's some type of creature or even alien. Maybe it's just animals that live there. What do the buildings look like? And how do people or creatures or animals get from place to place? Are there cars? Are there planes? After you've considered all of these things, think about how you're going to put them all together. So let's take a look back at my example, and I'll tell you about it. So in my world here, what I started with first is that I decided that I was going to make my world have kind of wavy looking landforms. So if you take a look here, you'll see that the landforms are all kind of wiggly, more organic in shape. And then my rocks, I decided to make out of triangles. My houses are also kind of wiggly or curvy in shape with strange roofs. And then I made some smoke coming out and some interesting looking windows. I haven't added any people in this drawing yet, and I'm not sure I'm going to. I have these really, really large plants, flowering plants. They almost remind me of the truffula trees in Dr. Seuss's book. Then I decided that I'd really like to have some polka dots in my sky floating around instead of a regular sky. And my boats are out in the water here, little sailboats, and they also have a curvy edge with some patterns on it, and I created some waves in the water. So this is as far as I've gotten so far. Once you're done with your drawing and creating your world, Then you're going to add color. Now you can use whatever materials you want for adding color. I decided that I wanted to use a couple of different materials, so let me show you. In this artwork, I decided to make the road and the polka dots in marker. I also traced some of my lines in marker to make sure that they stand out. But then other things, I just decided to color with crayon. I made the sky an unusual color with blue polka dots. So I sort of switched what the sun color and what the sky color would be. And then I just tried to kind of use as unusual of colors as possible. And I kind of wanted to make these almost look like stained glass, or like they, kind of could reflect light. So I liked that idea. Here's another one I made a long time ago. And this one is sort of a shape world that I came up with. And I have here's my creature, my triangle person that's walking around on this kind of weird shaped land. Here are the homes and what they look like in the neighborhood. And here's what's going on in the sky. So again, really the sky's the limit in terms of what your world is going to look like. The more unusual, the more creative is really the better. So use this as a practice to stretch your imagination and really have some fun. I can't wait to see what you guys come up with this, because I know you guys have wild imaginations. Enjoy, and I can't wait. Send me the emails with your photos in it or upload to Seesaw. Have a great week, everyone.